Good morning. Oh, I see some surprises out there. And thank you, Liam. That was beautiful. Good morning and welcome both here in the sanctuary and online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg on land stolen from the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Susan Bonavie, and I'm happy to be here to present today's worship service. Our title today is From Judgmental to Curious to Happy. We've been doing Curious all month, and so we'll continue that today. We'll have music by Liam Dunn and Asher Carlson. Joanne Kellner will lead our hymns, and today's worship associate is Courtney Prokopis, who happens to also be a miracle worker by making everything work this morning.
Thank you, Susan. You are also a miracle worker, so we are in good company. My name is Courtney, and my pronouns are she and they. If you would like a church where we encourage questions rather than providing dogmatic answers, I have some good news. You may have found your church home. The light-hearted energy of children is welcome and embraced here, and we encourage our families to bring their children, grandchildren on a regular basis. In the back in the North Acts, there is a basket with fidget toys that are good for children and adults. At this moment, we would love to sing to our children and welcome them back to our religious education classes.
Thank you. We have two announcements today before we get started. The first, you might have been expecting to see John Motter here this morning. I know I was until yesterday. John is in the hospital and he's very sick, but he's better. He's been sick since the middle of last week, so that's why we didn't even know that he wasn't going to be here until yesterday. So we're scrambling a little bit, but that's okay. We're used to it. He is doing much better. He hopes to go home soon. And if you're watching John, we're sending you a kiss to get you well. Okay. The second announcement, as we move toward our new member class on June 20th, we invite those who are newer or still exploring UUSP to consider joining us. It's a way to understand how this community works and how people find their place here. Registration is at the welcome table during coffee hour.
You all may also read the rest of the announcements in your order of service, in our monthly newsletter, and on the television in Gilmore Hall during coffee hour.
Allow me to give a special welcome to any newcomers or visitors. If you are new, or even relatively new, and you want to, would you give us a wave? Oh, you're good there. If you'd like, we have a microphone that we can take around and have you briefly introduce yourself. Don't feel like you have to, but if you don't mind and you'd like to, raise your hand and we'll bring you the microphone. There's one back there.
Right, wonderful. Hello, can you hear me okay? Awesome.
Good morning, Shireen from Rhode Island, visiting my aunt who has dementia and is 97 years young. In assisted living, doing very well. Her children, also the sea turtle trackers. So I've been up since 4 this morning. And I've talked to lovely Courtney several times and Reverend Ben. So I feel very home at here. Thank you.
Welcome. I saw another hand.
My name is Mike. I was raised in Miami with some Unitarian. I moved here in the 90s when my kids were really young. I took them here a few times. I think there was a leader, I think her last name was Korb, some time ago, and she married me and my late wife 13 years ago. We were married over by, it's called the Garden Center over by in St. Pete. So my kids are grown. I've made some kind of odd choices the last couple of years since my wife passed, and now I'm trying to get up back on the straight and narrow. So I've been here, this is my third Sunday back in a row, and I'm trying to stay clean and fun and exciting. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Helen, and I'm from here.
You need to
and-
speak up.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm from here, and I'm just exploring and looking for a place with like-minded people. My best friend moved to Costa Rica, and I miss him dearly. And some others have moved, so I'm just exploring. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. Anyone else?
Any other hands as I mosey on down? No, thank you so much for being here. Oh, there's one.
Hi, my name is Krista. I'm visiting my sister Emily and my mom. I'm from Minnesota, so is she, but she lives here now in Florida, so came here to visit mom because she's recovering from some surgeries. So
Thank you. You're welcome.
thank you so much.
We're glad you're here. We're glad to see you here. But we're also glad to see one another. So we're going to take just a minute to turn now and say hi to your neighbors, and then we'll get the service started. Just a minute. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Let's settle down. Okay, good morning again. For opening words, I've chosen two very brief readings. It's so nice to see people who know one another from somewhere else run into one another here. I like that. The first one is from Theodore Parker. I realize that some people here may not be familiar with Unitarian Universalism, and this description might give you an idea of what we're all about. It's number 683 in the back of the gray hymnal if you want to follow along with it, but it's quite brief. 683. Theodore Parker said, "Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living." And the second little bit of opening words is from someone who often made fun of Unitarians on his radio show, Garrison Keillor. He said, "When the country goes temporarily to the dogs, cats must learn to be circumspect, to walk on fences, sleep in trees, and have faith that all this woofing is not the last word. Time to shut up and be beautiful and wait for morning. Even in a time of extreme vanity and greed, one never has to look far to see the campfires of gentle people. All the places where the gravy soaks in and the grace shines through. So, gentle people around our campfire this morning, please rise as you're willing and able for our first hymn. It's in the teal blue hymnal, number 1008, "When Our Heart is in a Holy Place."
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, heart is in a holy place. When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please remain standing. I'm trying to catch you before you sit down. For our chalice lighting. The flaming chalice is a reminder that we choose to focus together here at this time every Sunday, and that we believe such a time together is sacred. When Jimmy, not Kelly Patton, but when Jimmy lights our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found within your programs and online. Together we say,
Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please be seated. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy Gilmore. Took me a minute to remember his last name. We'll get started with this poem from the ancient Islamic poet Rumi, translated by Coleman Barks. I chose it for its message about being open and curious about what every day brings. The title is The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorable. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Thank you, Susan. We come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. For those of you tuning in on YouTube Live and are not in this room, your presence is still felt. Please type your joys and sorrows into the text chat. And if you ever have a joy, sorrow, or concern that you'd like to submit during the week, you may write to Rev Ben. Right now, Kelly Patton.
Right now.
Yeah. We'll place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week. If you have additional cards that you filled out to bring up, you may do so at this time, or ask a neighbor to bring it up for you. Once we have read each card, We will say the person's name out loud and will invite you to repeat that person's name.
I'll start with this first one. This is from all of us, and it's about John Motter. We're hoping he's much better and back among us soon. John Motter.
John Motter. I have a joy from Helen and I have a concern from Helen. The joy is for Helen's children, and the concern is to meet like-minded people. Helen.
This one is from John Motter. He's always thinking about other people, even when he's in the hospital. It's a stone of sorrow for Dr. Clarence B. Jones, who co-wrote the I Have a Dream speech. He died last week. He had been awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Biden. Clarence B. Jones.
Clarence B. Jones. I have a concern from Emily about Susan Chavi. My mom is struggling with recovery from 2 surgeries and still is in need of another one. Emily Chavi.
Emily Chavi. That's all.
I have 2 more. I have one from Emily, Soline, and Zelon. And this is a mix. It's a joy and a sorrow, and I think we can all relate to that. This will be our last Sunday at UU St. Pete for the summer. We will be in Michigan for the summer and checking out UU churches while there. We will miss all of you. Exclamation point and a smiley face. So Emily, Soline, and Zelon.
Emily.
And I have another mix from Shireen. This is a joy, a sorrow, and a concern. It's a mix of all. My aunt, who's at assisted living, is 97 years young and she has dementia. I live, or Shireen lives, in Rhode Island and is visiting some cousins. So please send positive energy, love, and prayer. Thank you. Shireen.
And we'll place the final stone in the water for those joys and concerns that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken aloud. May all of us find comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of our fellowship and community.
We now invite you to say the first sentence of the UU St. Pete mission aloud together. It is printed in your order of service. Our mission is to be an inclusive, evolving religious community that inspires spiritual and intellectual growth to make our world a better place.
The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. Let us rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be. Let's take a moment of silence together right now, about a minute.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea.
anthem is by Asher Crossan. We're lucky to have him today.
Hi, everybody. So I was asked to introduce this piece. Why not? This is a bass clarinet. For those of you who do not know, I am an orchestral clarinetist and bass clarinetist across the state of Florida. Many of you may know the bass clarinet from Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, which after the little celeste solo, the ba-da-da-da-dee-da-dee-da is all on the bass clarinet. So this is about twice the length of a clarinet, which means it's an octave lower. Now this piece I'm playing today is by Michael Lowenstern, one of the great bass clarinetists of his generation. And the piece is called The Box Under My Bed. It's about all of the mementos and things, the curiosities that he kept over the course of his life under his bed to take out every once in a while and rediscover. So this is for bass clarinet and backing track, what we used to call in the old days bass clarinet and tape, which we don't use tape anymore, we use electronic track. So give me a moment, I'll set up, and then we'll be ready to go.
Thank you, Asher. That was great. I'd never seen or heard a bass. I guess I've heard it in symphony and not realized it, but a bass clarinet. I'd like to talk this morning a little bit about choosing happiness and a little bit about how curiosity plays into that. Curiosity has been our theme for the month, so I wanted to pay some attention to that, but I've really been thinking about choosing to be happy lately. I'm very lucky to have a therapist who is a wise Buddhist. I told some of my friends about her last night. Little did I know they'd show up today to hear about it. I'm lucky to have her. I'm even luckier that she accepts Medicare. So that's a great thing. One of the wisest things she has gently tried to teach me is to turn my natural tendency of being judgmental into being curious. She knows I'm quick to label someone who is making my life difficult as wrong-headed or mean. She tries to help me ask questions instead of being critical. I was talking to a friend about this, and she jokingly said, "But I like being judgmental." And I thought, so do I. It saves a lot of time. Because if I can just make a quick judgment about someone or some issue, it's something I can cross off my list. But how would it change a conversation or a community or a country even if we all tried the approach of curiosity instead of judgment? When someone expresses an opposing viewpoint, maybe instead of "they're obviously stupid, racist, delusional," what if we sincerely thought or asked, "What do you mean by that? Where does that idea come from? What if I'm wrong?" I want to read you a story that you've probably already heard from the New Testament book of Matthew. It's about one of Jesus' miracle stories. His disciples said, "Send these people away and let them go to the villages to buy food." "They don't have to leave," answered Jesus. "You give them something to eat." They replied, "All we have here are 5 loaves and 2 fishes. "Then bring them to me," Jesus said. He ordered the people to sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. Everyone ate and had enough. The number of men who ate was about 5,000. I think this is one of the Jesus miracle stories that is recorded. In fact, I think it's the only one that's recorded in all 4 of the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all tell a version of the story of a huge crowd being fed with just a little bread and fish. It is thought to be among the best documented parts of the Gospels. Bible scholars of every ilk, believers and non-believers alike, are pretty sure that something happened. Jesus did give a speech to a large crowd, and some people said that they had witnessed a miracle. So, how should we respond to this ancient tale? Are we curious about it? At one extreme, people believe that Jesus, being God's Son, physically, supernaturally multiplied the food so that all could be fed. They're inspired by that. At the other extreme, they say nothing happened at all. It's just a story made up to increase the power of Jesus' legacy. And I've heard people in the middle say that there are other ways to look at it. That perhaps some of the listeners rushed home and got food and brought it back to share. Or that perhaps as the baskets were passed around, everyone chose to pass it along to their neighbor without taking any. Or that someone with a lot of money went and purchased food for everyone. Just because it isn't written down doesn't mean it didn't happen. Applying a little curiosity can produce lots of possibilities. And which would be the more powerful, the more inspiring explanation? The supernatural ability to multiply food, or a generosity that led a few to feed thousands and give the credit to someone else? That would be Jesus. In light of our 4th Unitarian Universalist principle, our commitment to the search for truth and meaning, what do you think about this story? Well, this think thinks that if we get too hung up on the search for truth, we will fail in our search for meaning. We can spend all our time proving or debunking the historical facts of a story. But I think the more useful thing in this case is to search for meaning. What can we learn from it? Things about generosity or celebrity or sacrifice or zeal. My point is that jumping to a conclusion too quickly in any direction without curiosity closes the door on understanding and meaning. There's an old saying, at least where I come from, that to succeed in life you need 3 bones: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. The wishbone's for luck, the backbone's for courage, and then there's this element that really helps to have a happy life, the funny bone. I take this to mean not just a good sense of humor, but a good sense of fun. As you might know, I love baseball. Did you know that? Recently, I got one of those fake curious, but really insulting questions. Someone noticed I was wearing a team jersey, and they said, "I'm curious. Why would you spend money going to a baseball game? Does it really mean anything?" I answered with my own question. When is the last time you were so happy and excited that you literally screamed at the top of your voice for a solid minute, and you were surrounded by a bunch of your friends doing the same thing? I can answer that question. Friday night when Yandy Diaz hit his second home run. That's what we were all doing. Do you know how good it feels to be so happy that you scream? I get to do that about 100 times a season. Now, I don't say that thinking that you feel that way or that you should feel that way about baseball. I describe it so you know what I think you should be looking for. Experiences that make you lighter, stronger, clearer. The way you feel after you've laughed really hard for a long time. We need to do that more. I think sometimes we spend too much time doing things that make us feel noble or righteous, but maybe not joyful. I suggest that if some of the things that you do for relaxation don't make you feel joyful, do something else. A friend of mine was telling me about a TV series that was so dark that it made him feel slimed when he watched it. I said, for crying out loud, why would you watch such a thing? He said, "Oh, it makes me think." Okay, fine. But you better balance that dark stuff with some dance moves or a book about babies or hedgehogs or whatever it is that makes you smile. I'll finish with something that makes me smile. It's my favorite Sufi story. The Sufi, which is a wise Muslim mystic, was crawling around in the grass outside his home. His neighbor asked him what he was doing. The Sufi replied, "I'm looking for my key." The neighbor said, "Where did you lose it?" He said, "In my house." The neighbor said, "Then why are you looking for it out here?" He said, "Because the light is better out here." I love it. Let's be curious about that little story for a second. What can we get from it? Is it better to look where the light is warm and bright, and you might find all kinds of things, just not your key? Or is it better to look in the dark, where it's kind of scary and hard to see, but where the key actually is? There's certainly an argument to be made for being realistic, facing one's fears and searching the dark aspects of one's soul and one's world for the truth. And there is surely a time when that is the best, perhaps the only way forward. I know I've spent days, years, contemplating my own regrets, the things my parents did wrong, the altogether unfair way the world often works. And I learned from that examination. I found some keys in that darkness. But these days, I'm looking around outside. Who knows? Even if I don't find my key, I might find a crowbar or a ladder or some other way to get into whatever is locked. Or maybe a dog will come up and lick my face and I'll forget all about the key. Or maybe a new friend will come along and invite me over for tea. As Joseph Campbell says, participate in the sorrows of the world, but choose to live in joy. With all due respect for those facing their fears and searching the darkness, for me, for today, and I hope for the rest of most of my days, I choose to look in the light. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being my congregation.
Thank you so much, Susan. There's something that Reverend Ben often says, which I neither offer perfection or seek perfection, and I'd like to admit to that, where I overlooked one of the stones that would be read today. So, Kelly, if you'd be so kind, thank you. Each week, we appreciate someone or someones who have worked hard to accomplish our mission. This week, we have a stone of joy for our outgoing board member, Gigi Calisi. Kalsa, thank you. Gigi is off the board next year, but will remain the head of the interdependence pillar. So thank you so much for your work, Gigi. Thank you. We eat fruit from trees planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that bear fruit long after we're gone. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received. The collecting of an offering is not only an opportunity to receive and give money, it's a special ritual showing our support for and the love of this church. As the ushers come forward, we will be able to listen to some beautiful music performed by Liam Dunn.
Thank you, Liam. Your gifts, gratefully given, are gratefully received. The music for today's service was already chosen when I got involved, so I was delighted to find out that our closing hymn is my all-time favorite. It's Blue Boat Home. It's in the Teal Book, number 1064. It's a beautiful song that moves me to tears every time, the last verse. Please stand as you're willing and able. It's number 1064.
Though be
Please be seated. For closing words, just a very few from Mark Twain. It says a little bit about curiosity. It says, remember, it's not what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know that ain't so.
And kindly, please stand again for the releasing of the flame of our chalice by Jimmy Gilmore. You may follow along with the words in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Our worship service is over, but our service to the world begins. Please join us for coffee and conversation in our social hall through these doors. We really appreciate your coming today. Liam is going to play for us as we leave or stay to listen. He told us that he liked to call this his traveling music. It's not a concert, so you can travel or sit down and listen. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.